AJ, wrong floor, man.
0.5.
Yeah. Welcome to Cognizant.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you.
Going?
Yeah, excellent.
Good. Yeah, right there. You're the first one today. Yeah.
You like some coffee?
That would be great.
First things first, huh? Yeah.
You want to teach me how to do that? Is it just clicking a button?
Here I have a variety of tastes for you.
Okay.
And you can choose from cappuccinos, normal coffee, ristrettos, espressos.
Look at this.
Yes, absolutely. Hi, I'm Bill Hilhorst. I'm leading the TA functions for all technical positions within Cognizant, the BeNeLux, and welcome today to this podcast.
You need any help with that?
No,
Okay.
only if you want to. I'm Bill, 34 years. I've been born in Amsterdam, lived here all my life, and since a few years I need to move to Diemen, which is just close by enough to feel that I'm still in Amsterdam.
Okay.
I live there with my wife and my 2 kids. And where I like to spend my time, well, I'm technology crazy. I like to game. I like to go to a pub nowadays.
Okay.
Hey, I have 2 small children, you know, right? You need to somehow do something else than changing diapers.
Yeah.
And I like to, especially in this weather, to drive my motorcycle around.
So you're driving motorcycle?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the longest trip you had?
Well, I don't have a tour motor. I have really a city motor. So
Okay.
longest I've done is 150 kilometers.
Still?
But then I'm completely,
Okay.
yeah.
But do you want at some point to change it to the big one?
Yes. I want eventually a nicer motor. When the kids grow up a bit, I can go do some tours with my wife.
Okay.
She loves it too, to sit on the back. So yeah,
Amazing. And you're already almost 6 years with this company?
5.5, yes.
5.5. Okay.
Yeah.
And before that, it was Hayes.
Yes. So I never had the idea that I wanted to become a recruiter. But fresh out of college, out of university, I got headhunted by a more English firm who taught me about fierce recruitment, always be calling, always be closing, the real hardship of recruitment. And after a year, Hayes came by, picked me up and said, we also want to teach you something about feelings of the candidates, clients, and more relational management. And there I stayed 4 years. And now, almost 5.5 years here after Hayes.
And do you think it was actually a good start? Because right now you're not just in the Cognizant, but you're also head of TA.
Yes.
And usually the journey is within the in-house, but in your case you actually started from the agency and then you went actually to the in-house.
Yes.
Do you think it was a good start?
Absolutely. Well, from my perspective, because I never had seen the other point of view, but I really did like the perspective that first you need to understand that it's always around how to close people, how to find the right people, where there's a more commercial target behind it. Mm-hmm. But then once you change to more corporate environment, then you also learn that every position now you get on your desk needs to be fulfilled because you cannot say no. There is no other agency who could help. Mm-hmm. So it is 2 worlds. Mm-hmm. But luckily, and maybe we can talk about it later, Cognizant, the recruitment, the TA function is more of an in-house agency. Okay. So I can talk hours about it, but that's the nice thing about working for Cognizant.
Okay. Looking forward to see what's inside.
Yeah, absolutely. Come join me. Do you know what Cognizant does? Let me start with that.
But I think it's good to repeat for everyone what
Yeah,
exactly
indeed. I thought so. So we're an IT integration company. So previously called system integrator, classic stuff. The premium brands, the big IT technology companies, they rely on us globally to have their tools and systems implemented.
Give us an example.
SAP, Salesforce,
That's the biggest one. Okay.
Microsoft, AWS.
Without you guys, they cannot actually do the job.
They build it, we integrate it.
You integrate it.
Yes.
Okay. So you're the biggest integrator for them.
1 of 5. So we have 5 companies globally who are the biggest for them.
And the origin of Cognizant is from Netherlands?
No, the origin is we started in India.
Okay.
But nowadays headquarters is based in the US.
Okay.
But 70% of our workforce is still in India. or working from India.
Okay.
So it's a very multicultural company.
That's
and I
amazing.
think
How many people?
350,000.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
this
it's
is
immense.
giant.
It's
Okay.
immense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Super cool. Now, show us the place. Why this
Yeah.
is so special, and you call it a lab.
No, we call this the digital studio.
Digital
the
studio.
lab we will come soon.
Okay.
And the digital studio, we tend to create an environment for our customers, not to get a PowerPoint with, this is your current situation, and this is where we go to.
Yeah.
We want to immerse them. We want to give them the feeling what's going to happen with their IT background, because IT is the core of almost every company nowadays.
Nowadays, yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So that's what we tend to do here.
Okay.
Let me just show you around.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let me also start immediately with the hotspot we have.
Okay.
This is a black curtain. It's a bit hidden.
Something is happening there.
Please join me. This is a full-fledged immersive room. So please come on in.
Thank you.
I'll leave the door a bit open. And this is completely interactive. So it's a touchscreen. It's interactive, so it's touchable.
So it's not a touch screen, it's a touch walls.
It's a touch walls indeed. And here we have something, if there are no customers around, just to show what it can do. So here you see the main hall of Rijksmuseum with a few of the famous Dutch paintings,
Okay.
which we can move around. And I think everyone knows about
Okay, it's coming.
the night watch, as
Yes.
we say it in English, of course. And by closing the curtain, you have no outside light, so you're
Okay.
standing in it, you have the feeling in it. And from that perspective, we have all sorts of business cases for our customers, which we can call them through.
This is super cool.
Yeah, it is.
Is the screen touch screen or
It is.
do you have the monitors?
Oh yeah, it's touch sensors on top of it.
Follow your, okay.
Yeah, here you can see it. It's a
Yeah.
touch sensor.
Yeah. So the screen is not touch.
No,
Okay. That's like
but it's touchable, right?
yeah.
Can I do something?
Yeah, please.
What should I do? You tell me.
No, just
Press on the guy in the middle.
Okay. I want to touch this. Captain's gesture. Wow. Okay. Now we can even like go into the history of this piece of art.
yes, indeed.
This is super cool. Bogdan, you should touch it as well.
No, I've seen this. They have it in the
Company's
museum
mask.
or
Okay.
is
And what
it the
about the
lines
rest?
or not?
But in these times, while looking at a painting from 1600s, you also can let it move.
Look at this.
Okay, the model is still under development, but this is also to make it a bit more livid.
Oh man. Okay. Cool.
It is,
I
right?
am impressed.
Yeah, it is,
I am
right?
impressed. Okay.
Yeah, so, and here you have explanation about the portrait itself, about the painter. And this is really something we use to give our customers the feel and idea what's going on and what's going to happen.
What exactly, in this specific case, Cognizant did?
We built this completely ourselves.
So the whole experience,
What you're watching now is my digital experience colleagues who are building this.
digital experience.
Yes.
So basically anyone, and now for example the Rijksmuseum is your customer.
The Rijksmuseum is not our customer. We just built this
Okay.
to enthusiasm people, visitors we have here.
Okay, but they can become a customer if they want to deploy a digital experience.
Yeah, if they.
Okay.
But mostly what we focus on is Fortune 500
Okay.
as customers.
Anything they want to do with you? Or do you specifically focus on some kind of part of the business?
No, the companies in general, because IT is embedded.
Okay.
In Fortune 500 companies, the IT is completely embedded, of course.
Okay. Maybe one of the brightest examples you can give
Of a company, you mean what we
of a
work for?
company, and they want to actually partner with you. What exactly you can do for them? Because you can imagine for the average recruitment audience, they
I
need to
understand. No, I understand. So what we do is to make it more tangible. We are able to perform technology skills from the past, current, and future. If you go to a big bank, of any country, they still have this big service in the basement called a mainframe.
Yeah.
They still exist. Everyone wants to get rid of it. It's not happening. It's too much embedded in the company itself, but someone needs to maintain it. Yeah. We can do that.
Okay.
Current stuff.
Maintaining the old system.
Maintaining the old system, updating it into the maximum what we can do, of course.
Okay.
Then current, think about development, banking software. I just stay in banks right now.
Okay.
So banking software, know your customer. It's all software oriented. We build that for our customers together with, for example, an AWS or a Microsoft.
Okay.
Or a Pega. Pega is a globally banking software provider.
Okay.
And then future. Everyone is now talking about AI, Copilot, writing some lines, getting some assistance from maybe an agent. But what if you want to embed a complete agentic environment into your corporate systems? We help them with that. We help to understand what's needed, how you're going to do it, and full-fledged. So from architecture, from defining what's needed towards implementation and people management and people change organization, what's needed. So we have a very large catalog of services we offer. But in main, everything what has to do with IT within a Fortune 500, we can do that.
That's amazing. So basically, if the same Revolut tomorrow, they want to actually start doing something on-site, and they can also come to you, and you can actually create any digital experience they need, right?
A digital experience, but also the software, internal software knowledge.
Revolut maybe not a great example because they are actually quite techy.
Yeah.
But I guess anyone who's actually want to create and or embrace this agentic approach, they can just come to you.
Yes. Well, to my sales people, of course.
Yeah. So which means that if they want to, rather than buying some kind of a technology, they can actually create the technology in-house with the help of Cognizant.
Yes, but we mainly work together with big providers of software.
Okay. I love it. Okay,
Yeah.
This is cool.
Yeah, it is.
Amazing. Tell us more. This is one thing.
Yeah, I'll just leave it here.
I love it. Okay.
It's nice, huh? So this is what we call the immersive room, where we immerse our customer. Watch out for the post.
Okay.
Part of nowadays, if you talk about agentifying stuff, AI stuff, then we are talking about an agent doing some recurring tasks for you.
Yeah.
But sometimes it just needs to be done manually.
Okay.
So this is generative AI built into a robot. It's off at the moment because the robotic person is not working today. But this one is able to to share what's needed into a sustainable way of waste management. So it recognizes what's a Mandarin or a phone, and it is able to check which box it needs to enter for waste management.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, ideally, I want to see that, but I trust you. Okay.
Yeah, we work also often with people from technical universities who come here for 3 months internship too, and just
but that's cool.
Want to try what they learned in theory and bring it here to practical.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's this part, and this is the lab what you was
Gen AI lab.
Yeah, we do this together with Google.
Okay.
So they sponsor a part of this this room. As I said, we have really partners in the big technology companies, and what we tend to do here is give customers an insight to step away from, I want something into AI, to something tangible. What of AI do I need into my company? So please follow me.
Thank you. I want to see that. Okay. Hello.
Yeah, this is Hayo, my colleague. He's responsible for this whole studio. This is his, this is his studio.
Once again.
So everything you like, tell him, please.
Okay. So far, so good.
So this is all sorts of examples we have around generative AI. Okay. So here you see our Cognizant photo booth. We just take this along to events. You click a button, what you like to do. It makes a picture of you, tells you what you're wearing, and it automatically puts you into...
Oh my gosh.
We can do that later if you like.
For sure, 100%. Okay.
Here we have some replications on generative AI too. Images, videos being created automatically, and how we can make that.
Okay.
My colleague showed me something. Nowadays you have, when you go to a fashion catalog, you have all sorts of models wearing, walking around, to show anyone how it fits, how it looks like, right? Generative AI just puts a model into your clothing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you don't need it anymore.
Cost saved.
Okay.
Here you have the video of different kind of technologies and how we are doing this. So at the moment, in our UK country, we are often very strong in public sector. AI in waterworks, but which country in the world has the most water around it?
Netherlands.
So we're trying to sell this now here.
Okay.
So water and waste management, but
Amazing.
again, with AI.
But then it can be any industry. This is what I keep observing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And here
this one?
today, normally we have here a neuro system, which we can show what kind of agents are talking to each other to order you a new laptop for Avery. As every IT tool, sometimes something goes offline. So when I started this morning, it was not online yet. So now I just have a page open about what kind of research and innovation we are trying to do with decisional AI.
Okay. And anything super innovative and super interesting happening right now? Where is the focus?
I think the main thing, we are looking for some strong business cases, because everyone wants to have a piece of AI and say, oh, this is going to solve a part of my business.
Yeah.
But the truly embedded into your organization to touch upon every department, every skill level, that's at the moment what everyone is looking for, where everyone is trying to find not only the solution, but more the idea, where is it needed and how is it needed. To create that environment here, every associate with all 350,000 have access to almost every big AI tool, just to be an entrepreneur, go try, go challenge yourself, go challenge your team, and try to build something here.
Okay.
So I think that's the biggest part we're having now.
So basically everybody can be a creator now.
Yeah.
Okay. I love it.
So and then the next zone is more about creation. So here you have demos, and conceptual, and here. So this is also in Dutch about the waterworks with open source AI models, but it's completely in Dutch.
But how exactly you help specifically in this industry? The system behind?
Well, to be frank, I'm here the recruiter, so I cannot completely fill you in on this one.
No worries.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and here is here's what we can create with our customers. So we have ID perspectives. We work together with the, as you can see, the High School of Amsterdam or the University of Amsterdam. So we collaborate with a lot of people, and here we can create and build so that your concept does not stay into a concept phase.
Going back to the story with Hayes, and the reason I'm asking, what exactly you learned 4 years at Hayes that no one can actually learn as a head of TA within the in-house teams?
I'm always a bit afraid to say no one is able to learn from that, but I think that there is a different kind of financial acumen needed from a more external perspective. What kind of costs is necessary to recruit such people? What is being done? How much time and efforts are being put to hire someone? And from that perspective, also the art of saying no. And then a full no with a reasoning and the perspective of how to change headings to hire the right person.
Okay. Is it super helpful now?
It is. So Cognizant is a multi-matrix company. Do you know what it is?
Please enlighten us.
So it's not a standard hierarchy. You report to several people. You have one hard reporting line, so one person you really report into on a day-to-day basis. But for example, here as an head of TA, I report into the European director of TA, but I also dotted report into the head of HR, to the head of delivery, and also to the commercial leaders.
How it's really working in practice?
It's fun. It's fun because no day is the same. We have so many chats, so many perspectives of we have won a project, how are we going to do it? And due to the size of this company, we have an internal recruitment team.
Mm-hmm.
So they transfer people from project to project. This can be from region to region, country, or even from another part of the globe.
Mm-hmm.
And they will start a project here. And we have all sorts of working attachments. So they can work in India, but they also can work in the US on a project here in the Netherlands, or they're just here. So there is a lot of movement always.
Mm-hmm.
A vacancy is not just a vacancy for us. A vacancy for us is an idea how we can solve problems at our customers' end.
Mm-hmm.
And by having this multi-matrix organization, you always need to be agile and on your toes.
Mm-hmm.
You also always need to be proactive. And from my agency background, makes it feels like that I really am in the right place here.
Okay. And just to get a bit practical, how the roles are being opened at the company and how you're processing them?
Yeah, well, that's an excellent question. Because I just said outside, right? I'm a bit of running an inside recruitment agency here.
Exactly.
As we are such a global IT company, you can see our vacancies also as IT tickets.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a system where tickets come in with a cost allocation, with hiring team. So we know immediately what kind of budget we have, what we need. Vacancies already embedded into it. So it's click on the button, we can post it, and we can start on it.
Mm-hmm.
But then the show starts.
Yeah.
Because we do not get months to recruit a person. It's what we say, it's kill or fill. So we say we can do it and we will fill it within 2 weeks till offer.
Okay.
Because we still have
2
reservation
weeks.
periods. Yes.
But that's quite fast.
Yeah, we are fast.
Okay.
I'm very proud of my team here. They're really on their toes constantly. They know the market, they know what they're doing,
Mm-hmm.
And they're able to very quickly understand what's necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, also working with a seasoned team here who knows this environment.
Okay. And when you said that, then the show will start. In 2 weeks, you're closing the role. How it's happening?
Yeah. So we have a perspective of not over-engineering our interviews. And to make it much more touchable for the audience, if we are looking for a Java engineer, I guess that most people understand what a Java engineer does. We do not send an assessment. We do not send a coding test. We just create an hour in one of our architect Java engineering calendar with the candidate, just an hour. They talk peer-to-peer about technology. And if it's a fit, it's a fit. If it's a doubt, then we will not move forward.
Okay.
So we don't need scores. We just need, does it fit to what we are doing? And then please come on board. So 1 or 2 interviews can be already sufficient for us to move forward.
That's it. And it's conversation with internal team, technical conversation in that specific case.
Yep.
And within that 1 hour, internal team can understand if it's a fit in terms of the capabilities, but also in terms of the culture, I believe.
Indeed.
That's it.
And as almost everyone in this company is billable,
Okay.
during the technical interview, they also have the understanding of how to do also the business interview. How are you commercial fit? Are you able to withstand to work with customers? And from that perspective, we can move rather quickly.
Then it's a blend. It's not just the pure engineering capabilities you are seeking, but also blend with the commercial acumen as well.
Yes.
So they can work with the customers.
It's of course dependable on which kind of department we're hiring.
Okay.
If someone is really being hired to write code, yeah, we understand that there's no commercial capabilities needed. but are we looking for change consultants? Well, they often come as the first into a new customer.
Okay.
So they need to have that business acumen to understand, how can I make this environment mine? How can I help the customer better and better?
Okay.
And
So basically 1-2 interviews, and that's it, nothing else. And then the job offer is happening.
Yeah, and sometimes it's a business case if you really have a certain specific position, but that's also with your peers, just or in person or during a call, to discuss what your perspectives are. And then during the call, the decision already can be made.
Amazing. Now I know how to make it in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned when we were outside that when you joined Cognizant 5.5 years ago, you actually joined in the midst of a COVID.
Yeah.
So can you take me through the journey, how you started and how the company, but specifically maybe the talent acquisition function, is being transformed within those 5.5 years?
Yeah, no, of course. Well, to just give some proof of the timelines I just managed, I have sent my resume on a Thursday to Cognizant for a position. On Friday, I got an email from the back then head of TA if I would be available Monday to have a chat. Monday morning, I had a chat. Monday afternoon, I had a chat with one of the business leaders. And on Tuesday morning, the contract was already in my mailbox.
Wow.
And that was during full COVID, so everything was digitally done. Could have even have been faster, but I had a barber appointment. So we stopped the interview that I could go to the barber and then. But that's how this company moves. And of course, back then there was no access to any offices. Well, we were renovating this office. We were moving out of our Zuidas office. So we just got a box with IT gear. And due to the fact that we were starting then with a lot of people joining, we had predefined onboarding dates. And I was just outside of my onboarding date, so my laptop had some issues. And then you could call here the service desk and they immediately could help you. And they pick you up and then give you the timeline. But this company is also about entrepreneurial spirit. So to understand the whole organization, you need minimum 1.5 years, 2 years to understand what's really going on, the movements, the ideas, the people, multi-matrix, of course, country, global based. So they just also let you swim to give you some insights. You need to find your own spot, because then you will thrive the most here. And that has been done also by, back then, my manager who did that. She was there on the back end for support, if you had questions, ideas or perspectives, but it's also important that they just let you go here.
Yeah.
And that's also what during my career here, the last 5.5 years, that entrepreneurial spirit is still a high perspective also for my team. Go try stuff, go do something, and fail or succeed. It's one of either. But if we don't be bold, then we won't change anything. So that's the thing which has not changed. But after these years, we ramped up with a lot of people. There was a lot of ask just after Corona, maybe you remember too, where the global market went a bit crazy. And we ramped down again. Not the most happy times to do it, of course, as a manager, but in the end of the day, for anyone, valuable moments, I guess, came out of it. And eventually, we now have a very rigid organization. They know exactly what they're doing. Policies were previously written for us, but now we're living it. We know the policies. Everyone is embedding them in their day-to-day work. Also, my team is doing a lot of self-governance. We write our own contracts, employment agreements, so there's no legal needed. We just have templates, we fill it in. We know what we can do, what salaries to offer. So we have here also a lot of responsibility and freedom from that perspective.
You said that you guys have some kind of like a super cool premium partnership with Anthropic.
Yeah.
How you guys are utilizing this partnership within the TA?
From our global TA leaders, the managers have been asked, come up with ideas, come up with business cases. How can we embed it into day-to-day operations, but also go play around with it? Here is a whole catalog from all sorts of learning environments, Udemy, Microsoft Learn, AWS Learn. Go get some certificates, go understand what's needed, build peer groups together, and go find out how you can make your life easier with the use of AI. And by having all these tools, it's very necessary to recruit to being called.
Bill, good that you mentioned. You said you guys built something super cool, and you specifically did it actually for your team with the AI. Can you share that story with me?
Yeah, no, of course. So I'll be on holiday soon, and the team was asking, what do we need to do when you're on holiday? So I said, give me a minute, and I gave an agent access to my email box, and I called it "What would Bill do?" And I never delete any email. So there's 5.5 years of emails in that box. And if you have any escalation question or ideas needed how you should assess the situation or change heading, you can ask this agent called "What would Bill do?" with "Give me some insights," and it will go through my email box and will come up back with communication styles, with how to work with certain people, and gives you an advice in my absence how I would have acted. So, for example, that's the things we are building at this right moment.
But this is super cool. So, which means that your team, they don't need to bother you anymore.
No.
At least during your holidays.
I'll be completely offline, and this agent will in the background be busy for me. Yeah.
This is super cool. Maybe the team will get used to that, and maybe you can have more time off.
I'm trying. If this happens, then I'll spend this half year working hard, and next half year I can do.
But this is super cool things. And you did it yourself?
Yes. So in Copilot, what I said before, we have access to all the tools. So in the developer environment of Copilot, you can just attach all tools to your own software and packages. And it brings me also to other things we have going on at the moment. Every language model has their own strengths, and that's also being taught here internally. So if you want to go for image creation, well, everyone goes to Nano Banana at the moment with Gemini, which is also a very strong one. And if you go for standard day-to-day stuff, then the GPT model is working perfectly fine. But if you want to go more into coding and a deeper perspective, then, for example, Anthropic at the moment is the best there is.
I agree.
So we have here such a big variety of resumes floating around in this company. We are human-based. So we build now something within Claude that he has rebuilt for himself, a resume completely in a tooling that he can read and adjust it for himself. So if we drag and drop any resume into this, and from a legal and privacy perspective, it's a closed environment, so it's not talking to the external world. And it just molds it into a standard Cognizant resume with the same lineups, the same perspectives, and the same skills and projects someone has done. And it's not allowed to make any assumptions, so it's also chatting with you.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it says, I see that someone is born here, so I think the language should be this and this, but please confirm and tell me if that's correct. And then it automatically fills in the whole resume for you, and every resume comes out in the same template, so also our customers are getting used to receiving the same resumes from internal and external people.
And those are the tools you did it in-house. You didn't it cost you nothing.
Yeah, a lot of credits, but that's something for the finance department to come up with. Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing those cases.
Welcome. Yeah, hope I can also enthusiasm other TA leaders to start playing around more with these kind of things in our function.
I think everybody needs that.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is the most fun part of the job? Is it having the coffee chats?
It's a difficult question. You see me thinking about it. It's indeed it's partially the coffee chats, because people have a story, people come up with ideas, perspectives, and well, as we try to be innovative, we sometimes also need these bright minds who have a complete different angle on the world, on technology, because we try to be different. So we need sometimes different people, and during coffee chats you will find them. If you just open up an application, you go start sourcing, you won't find them that easily from my perspective. Yeah. But the other part, which I really, really like here, is, and I say it to my team quite often, there's never a dull moment in this company. Due to the high velocity of positions, availabilities, and different kind of movements, that's something I really like.
Amazing. And Bill, when you, I think it's quite important part when you said about unlocking basically the stories of the people to understand if they are great fit for the company. Yeah. So if you happen to choose the part of the job which you want to focus 80% of your time, what would be that part?
Then I think it's making the whole TA function in this company even better than they are. The team is doing great stuff, and me and some others in this region, we are trying also to make the TA function better, faster, smarter, and that's at the moment a project we are running, which is taking a lot of my time, mostly in the evenings after my work, because we like it so much. There are so much new tools, so much new perspective, so much new people we can work with, that we really have fun with that. And at the moment, that's what I would like to spend 80% of my time for. And then the other 20% with the candidates.
As a head of TA?
Yes.
When it comes to your team, like the recruiter who is actually operationally involved in the conversations, what about them? Where they should actually invest their 80% ideally? They
should be investing as most toward the more conversational part of the job. The transactional part, as we see it here in the company, is going to change. With the whole AI influence, all transactional stuff can be done by an agent.
You believe that? I
do believe that. Mm-hmm. But the people part, the most important part of the TA function, building trust and a bond with someone, but also helping to understand here internally a stakeholder what's necessary for him or her to come up with the right person for their projects or their client. That's where we have the added value at the moment, and where we do not currently have enough time for, but that's where we're going to invest into more, and I'm sure that my operational TA colleagues will say the same. I hope so.
I love this part.
Yeah.
Shall we change the place?
Yeah.
Before you mentioned that, first of all, it's not just the in-house TA, that you actually act as an agency within the company. At the same time, you have this matrix approach, so which means that you need to actually manage different stakeholders within one project. Can you give us maybe one of the challenging role, somebody close, and how this whole process worked?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, it's a current position my team is working on. Okay. We have a Swiss client based in Switzerland with a commercial leader, also in Switzerland based and responsible for this hire. But payroll-wise, this person will join us in the Netherlands. We already have found it, identified. So contractual, it has been done in the Netherlands. We are being pushed by our delivery leader why he is going to bear the cost here in the Netherlands, while the revenue will be taking part in Switzerland. We get questions from technical team here, and they do the interview from Sweden for here for a role into Switzerland. And then you also have the upper level chief operating officer who's going to sign off. Who wants all the ideas of these people. So that's my team is collating that to each other, and we build this business case towards the COO with this is what we're going to hire, this is the reasoning why, And these are all the stakeholders which are involved into this hire. And that can change for every position we have. So this is for today, and tomorrow we can look for someone in a Polish project who's going to work in Belgium, for example.
And it's still happening within those 2 weeks?
Yes.
It's insane.
Yeah.
How the process works so smooth.
Yeah. I must say, we're getting more and more processes. Not something I really like. The less processes, the better for me, of course. But in the end of the day, still everyone is rather engaged into make it happen, because we need people for this business.
Is it 40 hours per week job in the TA?
No. No, not at all. Much more.
What type of person will succeed in this company?
And now you're talking about a TA perspective?
Yeah.
Well, someone who likes to be challenged constantly. But you also need to have a thick skin, because where a commercial influence is hitting, there's always some emotion. So you need to be able to work with that. And you need to be open for cultural diversity. As we are a global company, we have so many cultures running around. Well, you have been around with me this morning. You have seen a lot of different kind of people. And that's, I think, also a very important part here. Local languages is less important, because everything here is in English.
I love it. Bill?
I love it.
No, I think, I wish every company will have that DNA, but I guess this is specifically for your... Bill, because we met with you during the events for the first time. And I believe you're visiting the events for a reason. But what I want to ask you, what do you find useful in those events when it comes to the TA community? And what do you still feel like, okay, this is not helping anyone around and it's a waste of time?
Well, let me start with the positive part, of course. I really appreciate to hear others' thoughts about this function. The TA function and the whole TA community in the Netherlands is rather small from what I see. You always run into, well, the same groups of people. You know some sort of people everywhere. And but still, everyone has a complete different outlook on how to fulfill their TA function. And that's something I really appreciate. Mostly when I go to these events, I also come back energized again with other ideas and perspectives. And that's something I really appreciate on these events. What I try to stay away from, I'm looking for really events where also the host or the sponsor or the organizer has a certain perspective on things. So if they want to really sell an ATS system, then I just can open my spam folder in my mailbox, which is full of people who are trying to sell me ATS systems, right? But if you come up with a nice new sourcing system, you are able to adapt the latest technology into this, and you come up with that. And you're also able to convince TA people that is going to work for them, that is going to challenge them. That's what I really like. But if you come up with the standard stuff, I'll often stay away from that.
It was more like why you're doing that and how special you are, yeah?
Yeah, and how
the reasons.
Yeah, and how are you going to make my life easier?
I love that part. And Bill, when it comes to the events, because we said like a positive, negative, but I guess more what I'm actually looking forward is what is missing there? What do you want to see more in the community, in the events?
Well, that's of course also what we discussed after the last event, where you were able to bring some senior stakeholders with you who can explain about their point of view and perspectives, which I really, really liked. But what I'm missing, and it's more events, it's a presentation or a point of view, but sometimes I miss a bit the debate, seeking some friction and finding a solution together. But from my perspective, sometimes things can bump and get some challenges up. Mm-hmm. That's more what I'm looking at.
Okay. And now going to the challenges within maybe the whole TA industry. What is the biggest challenge you see now, which recruitment teams are facing?
And I don't want to exaggerate it, but a massive influx of non-fitting applicants. That's something we see a lot at the moment.
Okay, can you give us an example?
So if we open up a position here and we are looking for, again, let me stay with the Java engineer.
Yeah.
Then we also see applications coming in from around the globe with people with not even Java stack, but ever done anything within IT, but say, I can do this. Give me the job and I will teach it myself. But it's in such amounts at the moment that it's not helping us, because you want to tell people, hey, we're not going to move forward with you. You want to, maybe as a background, we are renewing our ATS system soon. Mm-hmm. For the viewers of this podcast, I don't need any recommendations. We already have identified and we are implementing at the moment. But the current ATS we have no bulking system there. And it's also something you not really want to have. So we need to write anyone who applies, hey, it's not going to happen. But I'm not able to give anyone the proper feedback anymore because it's too much. Mm-hmm. And that's something I really have difficulties with at the moment.
Okay. And how you can solve it? Is the new ATS solving it, or this is something else?
Hopefully the new ATS can solve a bit, maybe with also that it's able to write already some of the rejection emails on reasonings. But I'm looking for an ATS system. I hope that my next ATS system will be able to give us predefined letters, what we can send to the candidates. But I do not want an AI system rejecting people on my behalf. Okay. So a human in the loop is still very important to me. Yeah. But eventually, when everything is trained and in the right manner, I expect that this will happen too.
Okay, so you want to see that the system prepped, the reasoning and everything, and then still you can click the buttons, but then move forward with personalized approach. Yeah. But also with saving a lot of time.
Yes, indeed.
For yourself. Okay. And this is the biggest challenge you see, and hopefully you can solve it very soon.
At the moment, yes. Okay.
Is there anything else you see in the whole market which TA teams should be aware of?
I see a lot of desperation among candidates. I'm not sure if we as TA are the right to solve it, but I think from a communication perspective, we tend to do the best we can to give candidates as much communication back as possible. But still, everyone is being overrun with a lot of work. Some left and right, of course, cost cuttings, less TA for more work. But I think we have some sort of responsibility there.
A couple of months ago, I had a chat with the TA people who are searching for the job. And they were facing a huge issue that they're not getting any replies, specifically the issue you just actually shared, yeah? But they were saying that we are responsible as a TA leaders to fix that process, because now we can see, like, okay, as a candidate, it's so hard to actually get the right attention, to get the right feedback, being ghosted. Sometimes even after the second step, there are no news. Is there anything you guys are doing with that?
So for example, on all our channels, our career website, my LinkedIn, our job descriptions, all our contact details are written down. So there's no hiding behind a no reply email address here. Mm-hmm. If you have questions about a position, you can call us, you can email us directly. So you don't have to search for someone who is responsible for that. Mm-hmm. Because yes, we have a lot of work on our desks at the moment. We tend to reject in the right way, mm-hmm. but if it slips through, and it happens unfortunately, then people can also reach out to us to have some questions. Well, my phone just went, probably someone saw my number, just to reach out on a position we have open at the moment.
So basically, you are approachable 24/7.
Yeah, that's the minimum I can do. And yes, my phone, unfortunately, well, in this whole company, no phone has access to a voicemail. So it's a bit harsh. If you call my number and I don't pick up, it just says goodbye. But you can call me again, and I'll try to call back people when I have the time for it. But it's, yeah, we tend to be approachable.
The most weird conversation you had over the phone with the candidate?
Well, I can't come up with a real juicy one at this right moment. No, at this moment I don't have a, maybe later.
Bill, you mentioned that everybody is super proactive within the team when it comes to the hire. That's why it's happening within the 2 weeks.
Yep.
But it should be the cases when the hiring manager went dark, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
What is the movement from the TA in that specific case when the hiring manager is not reacting?
We have a culture here of escalation. So it's very normal that if you don't hear from someone within, well, predefined 1-2 days, it's almost common practice to put in their manager or their skip level manager into an email, just raising their attention that someone is not meeting their responsibilities. Mm-hmm. This is merely being introduced by our colleagues from India. That's a very common thing to do there, but the whole company is thriving on it, I guess. So once a hiring manager goes dark or is having difficulties meeting the expectations, there's always someone, and that's also, everyone is living in this matrix organization. Yeah. There's always someone to make them aware of their responsibilities.
Okay. Is this the only way to get the attention from the hiring managers in general?
No, absolutely not. No. Here, especially with my team, everyone, my team has almost be as long as here as myself. So they are known within the community of the hiring managers here on site and nearshore. They know if they get an email from my team, they know they need to respond, or we close them tickets, and then they need to restart their complete search over. So there is always a bit of it's almost a game of tennis. Everyone is playing it. The ball goes left or right, and if you're not quick enough, then you will lose it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when we talk with recruitment teams about who's actually accountable and final responsible person for the successful or not successful hire, usually recruitment teams are pointing towards the hiring managers. What's your belief in that?
Yeah, here we have a 50-50 responsibility. Talent acquisition is on delivery, and the hiring teams is about to make it happen. So if we deliver, we have met our SLAs, and then they need to make it work with interviews and to their customers. Mm-hmm. And we can seek each other's helps here. And that's also widely known. But if you talk about responsibility and accountability, we have a shared 50%.
Mm-hmm. What type of metrics you usually run at the end of the year to see who actually did how in terms of within the team?
Yeah, normally probably the most of your TA leaders you talk to will say hire, time to hire, and cost of hire. But here, I would love to have a higher metrics, but due to the fact that a lot is reactive and quick on their feet within weeks of fulfillment, I would say that for us, it's more time of delivery of a shortlist. That's a metric I'm really looking at, my team also, and that also gives the perspective. If we are not able to fill in 2 weeks, then something is wrong with the position, the budget, or the project, and we need to find out. And then also there's a hard stop. Are we going to move forward, or do we stop and are we going to spend our time in different kind of positions?
How quick you can deliver the shortlist today?
If I get a new position today, then Monday or Tuesday there will be a shortlist available.
1 week?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you accelerate on that one?
Yeah.
Make it 1 day?
Yeah, but then also the pools need to be, the candidate pools need to be kept upon very active. And with the current technology we have, that's not possible.
Okay.
But probably with future technology, there will be possibility to come up with faster pools.
Okay, so basically building the pipelines in advance.
Yeah. And we already have, for some sort of position, we know that they are always coming back in recurring phases. Then we have an always active pipeline, but not for everything.
We've been on both sides, Bill. The agency, but also in-house now, yeah? You've seen a lot. What is the one practice you keep seeing that the recruitment teams, or maybe head of TAs, are keep doing, and they think that it's a super efficient practice, but you think like, okay, this is total bullshit?
Ooh, that's a difficult question. I think spending too much time in meetings. I prefer to keep my days lean with as much emails as possible, which I can act upon quickly, or just quick chats. I prefer to be in the office where a lot of our senior stakeholders are also here, just to meet, a cup of coffee, chat quickly what's necessary, and then move on. Instead of a predefined 30 minutes, 60 minutes agendified test meeting, that's not something I'm really looking forward to, and I don't think it's really adding to productivity too.
You can skip all the meetings possibly.
If I could, I would.
I like that part.
Yeah.
Is there a special way you hire people when you're operationally involved?
What I still have the belief, and that's maybe from also the agency perspective, is that there are three very important parts in life. One is moving houses, two is marrying, getting kids, and the third part is changing jobs. And that contributes to someone's stress and will feel because you get a bit unrooted. So from that perspective, I still tend to do my hirings to give people explanations, to give people context about what's happening, why is things happening, and also guide them a bit during the interview phase, because I know it can be stressful for someone. Mm-hmm. Of course, you have other people who love to do interviews every 3 months and change jobs every 2 years. They are less fixed on that. But sometimes you have a person who has been sitting in an organization for the last 15 years. You really need to assist them. And from that perspective, I always tend to do my job.
Okay. Maybe last question.
Yes.
Because we might have some young recruiters out there who's actually watching it right now, and they're in the beginning of their journey.
Yeah.
They really don't know what is happening with all the AI and everything, and they want to get a piece of advice from somebody who is already in the industry for a while. What would be your piece of advice for the young recruiters out there?
Invest in the human part of your job, of what you want to do. The transactional part will be taken over by automation, but go invest into people skills, communication skills, and about taking care of people, both business and candidate side. I think you will thrive then.
You don't have to be scared of automation and AI then.
No, you need to embrace it. Jump on the bandwagon, it's lovely. And it will make our world in the end better.
Thank you very much, Bill.
Thank you.
Okay, Bill. Last thing we have to do, it's a game.
Okay.
Very classic one, rock, paper, scissors. If you win 3 times,
Yeah.
you will get a super cool branded merch from us, which is hoodie.
Oof, yeah, I like hoodies.
If I win, then you need to do something good for every. It can be piloting it can be intro, it can be anything. Anything you can do for the company.
Yep.
Yeah?
Okay.
Sounds good?
Yeah, sounds good.
Ready?
Let's go.
Okay, you count.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors. Oh, okay. Okay, now it's good.
I have a motivation.
Yeah.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Aye. I'm looking
very
forward to test some Avery stuff.
We made it. Thank you very much, Bill.
Yeah,
That was
thank you for
a huge
coming.
pleasure. And